Do you ever complain to your parents on a summer road trip about how long it's taking or how it's so hard to sit in the car? Well, you might not want to complain too much about it because today we have it pretty good when it comes to traveling. The US didn't always have nice paved roads with speed limits approaching 80 miles an hour. There was no getting to another part of the country in a matter of a few hours. Back then, there were all dirt roads, no cars, and it was usually a journey of a few days just to go a little ways. So that trip to go see Grandma back in Montana was a very large commitment. The roads were rough and the ride was not very comfy. This, my friends, was the beginning of the road system in the US. Thank goodness dirt roads and no cars was just the beginning of travel in the US, or else we might be still in wagons or carriages on dirt roads. I don't know if we would like that very much though. With the advancement of technology, we saw the emergence of cars, and with the cars came highways. These highways were roads that were paved, had the ability to withstand the higher speeds from cars, and connected more of the US. If you have ever seen the movie Cars, we see and hear about the Mother Road, or Route 66. Route 66 was one of the major highways that was constructed in an attempt to connect the East with the West. It originally extended from Chicago, Illinois to Santa Monica, California. People were able to travel reasonably from one part of the US to another. More towns were popping up along these roads, and the growth of the US was continuing. The boom of the two-lane highways eventually did come to an end. Even though the highways were more efficient than dirt roads, they were still not keeping up with the demand of the growing US. By the 30s and 40s, ideas for a new system of highways was underway. In 1956, President Dwight D. Eisenhower put into motion funding for new highways to be built. They would be faster, longer, and wider than any previous roads we had. It would connect America east to west and north to south. This new system was known as the Eisenhower Interstate system, and the interstates we know and love today are the products of this. So we have many thanks to give President Eisenhower for the ability we have to travel faster and smoother across the US. In the summer of 2016, my family took full advantage of the interstate system to make our way from Laramie all the way to the East Coast. It was nonetheless a very long time to spend in the car, but it was not nearly as long as it could have been if we were still traveling on dirt roads. I can't even imagine what that trip would have been like. We made it all the way up to Portland, Maine, down to Boston, to New York, then back to Chicago, and finally home to Laramie, all on the interstates. Without the interstate system, it would have been days or even months before we made it there and back. It made it possible for us to see and experience more of the US, which makes me appreciate this country even more. I'm also very grateful for the wisdom President Eisenhower had to see that the US could benefit from such a system. While I gained an appreciation for the interstate system, I also can appreciate even more just regular two-lane highways. This is really what seems to connect the small towns with the large, and it is how one may find places and people that are overlooked by just traveling along the interstate. When we take the exit onto some old two-lane highways, we are really entering onto the very thing that inspired the interstate system in the first place.